Good morning. I thought I'd do a little movie this morning for Bridie amongst other people. A lot of people have been like, we want to know what are the downsides of what you're doing traveling. So yep, I'd like to say that the good far outweigh the bad, but there's definitely things that are frustrating. So dust and flies, that's really hard work sometimes. Right where I'm standing here at this campsite, yesterday I had to go and get my fly net and put it over my face. The kids were all thinking I looked absolutely hilarious, and I did, but I didn't care. It's just I couldn't handle having like 30 flies on my face all at once. Just really, really annoying. The dust is just part of the territory and it's fine, but when you're trying to conserve water and you're not near any swimming holes, sometimes going for 10 or 5 to 10 days without having a proper hot shower somewhere can really get to you. And yeah, we've got a shower on board, but it just uses up too much water, so generally we're just using a tub to try and wash our feet and have a bit of a scrub standing in the tub. But yeah, it just can be hard with that dust. Sometimes we find that our feet get really cracked and dry, our hands, our legs, yeah, so just the dust takes a bit of a toll on the body after a while. What else? Kids, yeah, it's a big one. I'll just see if I can turn the camera around, hang on.
Good morning.
Everyone's having their breakfast this morning. Looks like heaven, but of course part of the challenging part of travelling with kids is that you don't get any downtime. You're just together 24/7, and patience and tolerance get strained at times, and yeah, it's just really, really hard for everybody to get that downtime where they have their own space. So yeah, you get a bit of in-house fighting, and Mum and Dad get particularly grumpy at times because we can just get over it. Morning, Summer. So what's the one thing that you don't like about travelling?
Moving every day
Why? Why don't you like that?
because it's hard work.
It's hard work. What about you, Liam? Down here?
I don't like moving every day because it's hard work and we have to do lots of stuff.
Do lots of jobs for Mummy and Daddy.
Yeah, and Dad barks every day.
Dad barks every day at you. Okay, what's your one downside, your worst one?
Packing up.
In what way?
It's the bane of my life, tidying up after you Rickbergs,
I would say my biggest downside so far has been not having enough downtime, not away from each other, but just from being on the road. I mean, we're doing this in 3 months, and I think we've bitten off too much with what we've done. So we've started in Brisbane, we've gone up to the tip, we've gone down to Alice, and we've done across the Gulf and heading up and doing basically most of the Northern Territory, ending in Darwin. So yeah, we've definitely bitten off too much in that time frame. It's meant that we've had to keep going and keep going. So that whole packing up, putting down thing can get tiring when you're doing it every day. Whereas I think if you got somewhere and stayed 2 nights and then moved on, stayed another 2 nights, moved on. But we quite often we do 1 night, and then a couple of nights, and that's actually not too bad. But by the 3rd day, everyone's getting really scratchy in the car. There's things that we're stopping and seeing and doing on the way, obviously, but we're just carrying on. And I think the kids just kind of need that downtime in the middle. The friends we're travelling with, we quite often notice that they don't need it because it's just them. But with kids, yeah, they definitely need that day in between to just sit and not do a lot, just have a play around camp, and just for us to not have to go and do activities. So I think that's what we've taken away from ourselves, so that next time when we come back next year, we'll try and do not so many. We might do 1 night driving or 2 nights, and then try and stay for a couple of nights and just do more of those 2 and 3 night stops, because we're exhausted too. It's just a lot. There's no time. We've had no time for exercise. I went on a helicopter flight yesterday, so I had to hop on the scales and yep, put on 5 kgs. So that's definitely a downside. I'm gonna have to work hard to get that off. But yeah, just no time for exercise. We're just constantly in the morning waking up, packing up, moving on and then getting somewhere by sort of 3 or 4 o'clock and trying to set up so we've got time to make a fire and sit around and have a couple of drinks before we cook dinner over it and stuff like that. So that's been a big downside. I'll keep thinking of what else. Lack of fruit and veggies is another downside to the camping we're doing. We have a limited fridge space, it's hot, and so we actually can't fit a lot in. So when we're going through a town, you know, we'll get 2 or 3 of whatever for each of us for the next couple of days, but we just can't fit it in. So our staples have been tomatoes, avocados. We try and fit in an iceberg lettuce and probably cucumber, and we just slice that up for the kids, and carrots, but we have to refrigerate those as well because it's just so hot here. So yeah, we feel like if we give the kids a few cherry tomatoes, cucumbers and carrots, then that's about all we're really getting in. We've put a few frozen veggies into the freezer, so we've got like peas and corn and edamame beans, and there's a couple of packets of like fresh stir fry mix from the produce area that we've just frozen. But yeah, that's all we can fit, and so just hanging out for fruit, yeah, that's quite hard work, and definitely noticed it in the quality of like our skin and nails, and yeah, just definitely lacking a few vitamins. So yep, that's one downside. Possibly alcoholism as well. It's so hot, you just can't wait to pull up and crack open a beer or a cider for me. Yeah, just a cold, refreshing drink. Just the water just doesn't cut it half the time. So alcoholism could be a factor.
As we don't get a lot of charge from the vehicle into the camper because of the way the battery system's set up. We've changed the battery system, but because we're running a big fridge freezer, a 75 litre Waco fridge freezer in the back of the wagon, once the wagon charges the starter battery and then charges the auxiliary battery and maintains the fridge freezer, then trickles through to the camper, you're getting only 2 or 3 amps, which isn't even enough to run the fridge that's in the camper. So you constantly got the challenge. So by having the solar here I set up on top of the tinny, gives us a bit of charge during the day, but it's a pain in the arse. It'd be much easier just to buy a generator,
Which wifey doesn't really want to do because I don't like the noise.
but it would be a lot easier. We're down to 73% at the moment. We'll use another 10% now. That's 63% we'll be at tomorrow morning. We've only got 1 day left and we're out of power. So we've either got to find somewhere where we can hook up the power or cut back on the fridge or get really good sunlight for the next couple of days, which is just a constant pain in the arse.
One thing when you don't have a lot of water is the washing. So we wear the same filthy things day in, day out. Although we could easily wash your face. What's happened to that this morning? It's got all dirty. We're all packed up, ready to go. We're trying to think of any more downsides. The ants can get annoying with the little kids, because kids drop their food obviously, and if you don't pick it up, then within about 10 minutes you've got this swarm of big ants everywhere, which us Kiwis aren't used to. They're all little things really. The best far outweigh the bad. Those are just people were wanting to know, so we've put it out there for you. But yeah, the adventuring, the exploring, the amount of time spent as a family, quality time, just the freedom from your mundane routines and household jobs, and just having your house on your shoulders, you know, on your back, and just stopping where you want. You know, Hunter's only 2, so he's decided that, you know, he says a lot, I want to go home. Oh, screaming, we've obviously got some fighting in the car going on. Yeah, so he often says I want to go home, but he's just talking about back to the tent, so that's quite neat. As long as his family's here and we've got a roof over our heads with his blankie, that's home, so it's pretty cool. So yeah, there's the bad things. We'll do one of the awesome stuff soon too, but that was just for a few of you who wanted to know all the little bits and pieces of what has gone wrong. So yeah, you would have also seen we've broken down. We've had a few vehicle issues. We're onto our third jockey wheel. We sheared the first one off on the tally track. The second one we busted when we got stuck out on the salt plains. We've had to rewire the electrics in the vehicle and our winch shed itself. But other than that, I think we've done pretty well. If that's it for our trip, I think we've done bloody well. So that's it for now. Yeah, I'll put one up of the best things another day. See ya.